see them tomorrow. No weapon form against you. PDP, just set you higher than that. Farley, 10,000 falling at your left, 10,000 at your right. Victory today. No weapon form against PDP, just set you higher than the eagle. What's up? Haters scatter on your left, some scatter on your right. Victory today. This is a black when we touch the road. In with PDP t-shirt, voting Dr. Fate Behavior, voting for what's in you. Black like charcoal, that bamboo bully face smoke. Is this kaleidoscope? Well, and black is the code. We pro PDP, Trevor, this is a black hole. PDP, we voting for PDP, protect PNL. Trusty and her friends, you won't see them tomorrow. No, this is a black hole. PDP, Trevor, you hear this song? You hear this song? You hear this song?
PDP start campaigning. When the trucks start up on the leaving, and PDP start campaigning. When the trucks start up on the leaving, and PDP start campaigning. When the trucks start up on the leaving, and PDP start campaigning. Farley party does work real hard while the other party play it mad. I said to move, bad mind, move. Trevor pass. I said to move now, move, bad mind, move. Watson pass. They too damn dirty, they too damn evil. You should have know ABS God people. I said to move, bad mind, move. Let we pass. It's all kind of dreams, PNM selling. As election come thing they doing. When election done, can't get nothing. PNM government too out of timing. PNM sit down and they rock it and they take it and they
PDP victory. The road now run, the journey rough. We foot strong and our skin tough. So many dots have been thrown at us. Real Spartans never give up. Yeah. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream. It is for real. You have to believe. PDP victory. Yeah. PDP victory. Tobagonians are born fighters. Carry the genes of our ancestors. You change hands so many times, mama. To get your freedom, you have to fight back. I see the many scars upon your back.
I have found that Tobago gets more done when Tobago votes for Tobago Central Party that does not have a base in Trinidad. Because Tobago has to mind Tobago's business now. We have not mind our business for the last 21 years. We're minding the business now.
PDP victory, yeah. PDP victory. Your enemies you shall see no more. Tobagonians will live better off. Better opportunities for the poor. Victimization it will be no more. The winds of change blowing your way. Bust off those chains. It's a brand new day. It's not a dream.
For too long we've been silent.
Good evening, Tobago. Good evening, Spartans. My name is Tasha Boris. I will be your host for this evening. And welcome to PDP On The Road, Mason Hall, Mariah edition. Mason Hall, you in the house? Mariah, are you in the house? So let's get this meeting started. I would like each of you to stand at this time for the playing of the national anthem. Remain standing. I would like to call Ms. Darlene Turner to the stage to open us with a word of prayer.
Let us pray. Our Father who art in heaven, we are indeed thankful unto thee for bringing us here tonight for another meeting. We ask that you will be with tonight's proceedings and help that everything will go according to your will. We pray also for all our candidates, dear Father. We ask that you will continue to be with them, be with their families, protect them from all harms and dangers, seen and unseen, predicted and unpredicted. Be with all of us who are supporting PDP. Continue to help us to be the change and to focus on what we want Tobago to be like. Continue to be with our opponents as well. Keep them safe, keep all of us safe. And when this meeting is over, take us to our homes, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
You may have your seats. Thank you, Ms. Turner. The spotlight is on Mason Hall, Mariah. By far, one of the most dynamic districts in the whole of Tobago. Don't you agree? Tobago, this election is about the 3 C's: choice, chance, and change. Tobago, you have a choice. You have seen what has been offered to you for the last 21 years. And you have to choose whether or not you would continue with that, or if you are willing to strike out with something new, something that promises better and plans to deliver on better. You have the chance. You are a Tobagonian who has the opportunity to now take the leap and say, enough is enough. I've given the other side more than enough chances. We have given them more than enough opportunity to do better, and they insist on not doing so. I am ready to take the chance on something new. The 3rd C is change. Change is what is required. Change is required for all of us. Change is required for us to get to the place we know we need to get to. We are not in a good place, Tobago. But the PDP comes with the promise of change. We come with the promise of a brand new Tobago. We are here to transform, not just people, not just our island, but the transformation of our future. We have a dynamic lineup of speakers tonight. And the first one who I'm going to call is no stranger to politics. She would have contested before. She comes at it again. She is tenacious in spirit. She is a technocrat at heart. She's a planner and organizer at heart. She has the heart of the people of her electoral district in mind. Natisha Charles Pantin brings a wealth of experience to the PDP team, and we are proud to have her with us tonight. So please put your hands together for the candidate for Bagatelle Bacalet, who has every intention of hanging a jack, Natisha Charles Pantin.
Black excellence. Born to win. When we touch the road, PDP in control. Black and proud, PDP in control. Black and free. Wave up a flag when you hear your candidate name mention.
Thank you, Mr. Tashia Boris. Thank you very much. And such a loving welcome, a warm welcome. Good evening, everyone. All protocols observed. I am Natisha Charles Pantin, and I am the candidate for the electoral district of Bagatelle Bacalet. And I am here tonight to support my comrade, brother, Ian Pollard, and I'm asking you, Mason Hall Mariah, to vote resoundingly for him, for your one and only, he's the only option up there, Mr. Ian Pollard. Ladies and gentlemen, my father, God rest his soul, was the one who first encouraged me to have a conversation with Mr. Pollard. I was passing through Arnottsville Road over a year ago, and I saw Mr. Pollard developing his family land. Truthfully, I was a bit timid to speak with him because of his demeanor, and he was a strong TOP when I was part of the Red Army. But my father said to me, go talk to him. He might surprise you. And indeed, he did. After I spoke to him, two things stood out in my mind. Mr. Pollard spoke highly about Coach Bertil Sinclair, who would have shaped him into the man that he had become today, and the reason why Tobagonians should aim for both financial and economic empowerment. What impressed me about him was that he displayed extreme gratitude for the Tobagonian elders who would have sacrificed their entire lives to develop the young men and women of Tobago. Also, he explained to me in detail that achieving financial and economic empowerment was the only way we could achieve greater democracy in Tobago and freedom on a whole as human beings. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Pollard woke me up from my political slumber. And for that, I am grateful. After being mentored by him, Dr. Vanessa James, and Mr. Roald Titus, and all the people in the village, I was elected to be the chairperson of the Providence Mason Hall Mariah Action Group. And also, now that I'm a candidate for the Bagatelle Bacalet area, I'm supervising the Bagatelle Bacalet Action Group. Mason Hall Mariah, I want you to remember this lesson. First impressions always last. It was the first impression of Mr. Pollard that made me accept Mr. Pollard's invitation to become his campaign manager in the last election. PDP! I believe this was destined to happen because the 6-6 debacle revealed a lot about partisan politics and how dangerous this could be in the fight for autonomy, democracy, and of course, achieving financial and economic freedom for Tobagonians. Ladies and gentlemen, let me also point out that Mr. Pollard became an elected assemblyman and he received no executive position because he was considered to be part of the Liquor Six. Due to his own financial and economic freedom, he used his own resources to serve his constituents. Tell me, ladies and gentlemen, isn't Mr. Pollard the most fit to serve the residents of Mason Hall, Mariah? PDP! I woke up one morning and saw him fixing my road, and I had to ask him what he was doing by me, because he should be out there assisting all the other residents during the campaign. And you know what he said to me? He said, if I could assist other people, I could assist my campaign manager also. So she could walk out as she road comfortably and help me to win my campaign. So that is what you call representation. Mason Hall, Mariah, Mr. Pollard represents the blood, sweat, and tears of our foreparents who would have stood up for freedom of speech and the right to have access to our own resources here in Tobago. Mr. Pollard represents an organization that understands the fight for autonomy and self-determination for Tobago. As a matter of fact, I believe he is the best person to champion the cause. He could sell the message of autonomy to us as Tobagonians. PDP! Mason Hall, Mariah, do not make any mistakes this time around. Let me fix this. Vote for your birthright and your legacy. Vote for Mr. Ian Whitey Pollard. Place your X by the bamboo buffet and ensure that Brother Farley becomes the next Chief Secretary after December 6, 2021. Vote for your legacy. It's time that we fix this. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good night.
Wave up a flag when you hear your candidate name mention. 15 strong, 15 Spartan.
And the winner is Farley Augustine.
Born as a winner, what's in Duke was born as a winner. Born as a winner, Farley Augustine, born as a winner.
Spartans, PDP family, let me tell all you something. The beautiful thing about being a member of the Progressive Democratic Patriots is that we have strong Spartan women. The Spartan women in the house, give me a round of applause for Natisha Charles Pantin. The team of 15, who will be the team of 15 come the 7th of December, is a dynamic team. It's the best team to take Tobago forward. Not so? For those of you who are on the live, I want some hearts. I want some green hearts on the live. Share the live. Because this platform, as I keep saying to all you, is 5% all talk and 95% real talk. So the next speaker that I'm bringing to you is the captain of the White Man Beard movement, the fireman of this party. Regardless of where he goes, he light the fire. He bring the real talk. He has done so much for his electoral district in the 10 months that he has been the assemblyman. His current opponent is confused. Is confused. The spirit of confusion is reigning on that side. That he forgets that when they had no development in Bethel, they were the ones in charge. But you just see what it does do to them. The same spirits of confusion have turned on them. And we are seeing it as clear as day now. This man that I'm bringing to this stage only has the people of Bethel New Grange at heart. They elected him in January. They will elect him again in December. I would like you to put your hands together for Pastor Mr. Terence Baynes.
Yo, yo, yo. Critical and crucial. Yo, watch them. Some people dedicated to evil and wickedness. Watch them. But watch this. Watch them. Yo, don't have to do anything for them not to like you. Evil and wicked is the name of the title. Don't have to do anything for them not Mr. DJ. The heart stink and the hands dirty. Don't want to be their friend, neither their body. Good night, PDP people. PDP. Good night to all of you in the virtual space. It is good to be alive. I said it is good to be alive. I count myself very privileged. In fact, I am dripping with gratitude this evening for the opportunity to stand there to endorse my friend, Mr. Ian Whitey Pollard. Yes, sir. Good friend is better than pocket money, somebody said. It was sometime in January while we were canvassing, a lady came. We went to this particular family and they were begging if we could get somebody to do a road for them so that they could get access to the property. I said to her, ma'am, we are not in governance, so we don't have that kind of resource. I said, but however, I have a friend who have some equipment. I will see if I will talk to him and he will come. And I want to say tonight and to announce that Mr. Whitey Pollard sent his equipment, sent his operator, and now the people have a brand new road. And on top of that, as people saw road billing for somebody else, this one said they want a road and that one said they want a grade and all of that. And Mr. Whitey, with his kind self, gave these people some relief. And I want us to put our hands together for that. And that is what true representation is all about. You understand? And so tonight, I want all of us to salute this man for what he has been doing in this Tobago space. And I agree with Miss Boris. There is no better candidate, no better representative than Mr. Ian Whitey Pollard. I also asked Mr. Pollard to give me leave to say a few other things just to add on what I'm doing here to endorse him, and he said, go ahead, man. One of the most interesting and perhaps most exciting movies that I have ever looked at in my life, I have looked at that movie perhaps about 12 times already, is a movie called Tears in the Sun. Some of you may have seen it. It's a Bruce Willis movie, and it speaks about conflict in Nigeria. And as a result of that, ethnic cleansing began and so on. And there were all kinds of atrocities taking place in the land. The Americans had a doctor somewhere in the bushes, somewhere in the jungle, carrying out benevolent work and so on, and sent in some special forces, soldiers to rescue this woman. And they went there, and as they were about to rescue her, they saw all the atrocities, they saw all the wickedness, they saw the evil. One part of them was saying we have to do something. Another part was saying they have to follow orders. Eventually, they decided that they will take some action. It was very costly to the team. Many of them lost their lives. But at the end of the movie, there was a quote that I want to share with you. The quote says, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. It is a quote that is routinely attributed to Edmund Burke, but some say it's really falsely attributed. They go on to say, apparently he never utters those words. The best essence of the quote can be traced back to a unilateral philosopher named John Stuart Mills, who delivered an 1867 inaugural address at the University of St. Andrews and stated, listen to this, let not anyone pacify his conscience by the delusion that he can do no harm if he takes no part and forms no opinion. Bad men need nothing more to compass their ends than that good men should look on and do nothing. He is not a good man who, without a protest
allows wrong to be committed in his name and with the means which he helps to supply, because he will not trouble himself to use his mind on the subject. In essence, what they are saying is bad things only continue when good people do nothing. And my brothers and sisters, you and I have been in this Tobago space for quite some time. And we have been noticing what was taking place. I took the time to look up the meaning of the word evil. Notice what the code says. The only way evil will triumph is if good men do nothing. The word evil shockingly says it's defined to be profoundly immoral and wicked. When somebody tells you or tells another that they are evil, they are saying that you are profoundly immoral and wicked. My brothers and sisters, when we see the way this present regime has treated Tobagonians in more recent time, I want to suggest to you, I see evil among them. I ain't getting much yet, but I'm going to keep going. When we see in a pandemic that people that desperately need social assistance, but some men in position have the food cards in their pocket, giving out to people that don't need food cards, and mothers with 3 and 4 children cannot get food and subsistence, I say to you, this sounds like people that are profoundly immoral and wicked. When we see the way they treat contractors and treat workers who do not support their political philosophy, and they don't care whether they starve, they don't care how the children eat, I want to suggest to you tonight that these men and women are profoundly immoral and wicked. And so if we can agree that there is wickedness in that regime, good men must do something. I want to call on every good man in Tobago. I want to call on every good woman in Tobago. The first thing you got to do is stand up. I said you got to stand up. Stand up and be counted. You've got to say enough is enough. This thing has got to stop. We've got to see a change. We've got to see a difference. I call on every good man. I call on every good woman that is Tobagonian. Stand up. And the next thing that you have to do is speak up. I said you have to speak up. You have to get on your social media. You have to call on the radio station. You have to call on the television station. You have to call your neighbors and call your friends. When you hear them trying to perpetuate the evil and coming into your house and telling you about protect your future, ask them protect from who? Protect from them brigands and highwaymen and kleptomanias that have been robbing us blind for years. We got to speak up. We got to speak up. We got to stand up. We got to speak up. And finally, good men and women have to vote up. Did you hear what I said? We got to vote up. We are not going to physical violence, but we are going to vote violently with this index finger. Are you hearing me tonight? Tobagonians, are you hearing me tonight? Spartans, we have got to vote up from every hill and every valley, every hamlet, every crevice. Men and women must come saying that evil must stop in Tobago. We will banish evil from the Tobago landscape with our vote. We will vote in the east, vote in the west, vote in the north, vote in the south for the PDP and banish evil from Tobago. Evil will only survive if good men stay silent. They can do no harm to us anymore. We have taken all that we could take, and now we're ready. Is beast mode now, according to Brother Farley. Are you hearing what I'm saying? It is beast mode. We ain't studying what you want to say, and we are now threats proof. I said we have been insulated from threats. We will not be threatened. We will not be pushed back. We will not be verbally abused anymore. I don't care if you're the prime minister. We are sending a clear word to you. We're not taking that.
PDP.
And I want to say it again. We, the PDP family, must corral. We must come together and defend our leader, Mr. Watson Solomon Duke. We must defend him. We must defend Farley. We must defend Faith. We must defend all our leaders.
PDP.
Some PNM minions took that part of my speech and doctor something and put it on TV6 something. But in case you were closing your fridge door when I said it, let me say it again. We, the PDP family, just as you could support and corral Franca Cordner, we shall defend Watson Duke. We shall defend Farley Augustine. And we don't care if you don't like we. We do not care. We are adults. We could love who we want. We can defend who we want. The Prime Minister is one of the most abrasive orators on the planet. And people love him to death. They will defend him down to the ground. Look, move out of the way and let us defend our leader. Leave us alone.
Oh Lord.
So come December 6th, all of you that dwell in Mason Hall and Moriah, we commend to you Mr. Whitey, Mr. Ian Whitey Pollard. We commend him to you. He is a man of exceptional talent. He's a workhorse. He's a selfless man. And his record proves, or his record has gone before him. His reputation precedes him. None of the other so-called contestants could walk in Whitey's shoes. So we say tonight that come December 6th, put your X next to Mr. Ian Whitey Pollard and let us change the governance landscape of Tobago. My name is Terence Baynes. Good night.
Yo, yo, yo. Da, 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 da. Critical and crucial. Yo, watch them. Some people dedicated to evil and wickedness. Watch them. But watch this. Watch them. Yo, don't want to do anything for them not to like you.
You see why we call him the fireman. You see why he's the captain of the White Beard Man movement. Put your hands together for Pastor Terence Baynes. What else we could say about a man? Now I hearing about this Whitey character since I working on the port. That is since 2008. I hearing about this Whitey character. And I'm looking for a white man. Every time people say, Whitey coming on the port. I said, but who is this Whitey? I looking for like a short white man, white beard, something to indicate, you know, the name making sense. When I see this tall, black, strapping human being, I said, well, fluorescent black with a QUE. That is black man. And he write for this party. Whitey could only be a PDP Spartan. His days in the TOP was just a prelude to what he is destined to do with this party and as your assemblyman. Mr. Pollard is one of the most straight up men that I know. That man doesn't stand for nonsense. And that you know that Ian Whitey Pollard in the THA Executive Council will ensure that the PDP administration remains straight as a pin. That man has taken his own personal resources to bring a different level of representation to Mariah Mason Hall. And that people who was vying for the seat through underhanded means had the largesse of the state at their disposal. And this man did more than them. This man touched people more than them. This man went in places that they didn't care to walk. He helped every single person. And there's not a person in that electoral district who could say they have not seen him in the last 10 months. That he take your vote in January and disappear in the darkness, because he could do that. He did not take your vote and disappear in the darkness. He represented you. And he did not just represent you with what the state gave him, which is not much as a regular assemblyman. He represented you through his own pockets. He represented you from the dawn to the setting sun, sometimes whitey out in the dark, delivering hampers to people, cutting road early on a morning. I'm sure Avi and his wife does quarrel with him sometimes because the constituents seen him more than she seen him. But you know what? When a good man have a good strong woman behind him, he will move 1,000,000 mountains. And Mr. Whitey Pollard has a good strong woman behind him. And I'm telling all you something tonight. By the time PDP is finished with Facebook, you see that red heart that all of us be pressing at the bottom of the life, they got turn it green. That red heart will turn green. Because this party will transform everything. And I'm bringing to you the chief transformer. The man who wants to change the housing landscape in Tobago. And I want to channel my darling Certica from last night. On election day, I put in the plug in early. December 6th. Jam Your Ex by Ian Whitey Pollard. Jam Your Ex by the Progressive Democratic Patriots. Jam Your Ex deep in the ink. I want to welcome to the stage Mr. Ian Whitey Pollard.
Never know how time until you see me granny cut the toothpaste too. Where we are gonna do? I really want to know where we are gonna do. Spend a bag of money pan school fee. What a sorry pick me no pass. Where we are gonna do? Not nice where we are gonna do. We suffering every day. Call life so out up me brother. But where we are gonna do? Get on you where we are gonna do. We work hard all week and the money when we make up, we send we back at work. Where we are gonna do? Society where we are gonna do? Well I know, no for we there and someone suffer long time. But we never give up, yeah we never stop trying. And we living in a perilous time. Dark and I'm blind and lead. PDP.
Well, with that kind of endorsement, most I could say to you all tonight is good night. But I thank my colleagues for that endorsement. And I will begin my 2-minute speech now. President, good night to our political leader, our deputy political leader, the executive, you here in the audience, my wife Avian, my kids who are watching, my grandson, and those watching on the World Wide Web. Most importantly, my constituents of Mason Hall and Mariah. And those who are listening at Dalmore Center, Broadway Junction, and King Peter Bay Road. Big up. Now, there's not much you could say because I've been watching. Any night I didn't come to a meeting, I've been watching, but it seemed like everybody keep peeping in everybody's paper because the things I want to say, Certica talked about it last night, Pastor Baynes talked about it. I mean, we are such a unit that kind of spirit is flowing among us. And that is good. That is the kind of spirit that we need. But I would like to let you know a brief history why I decided to be part of this movement. I like Certica, got involved in politics in 1976. I was aged 10 years old. Because my dad was a work supervisor. And we had a farm, so he would employ some of the guys who would work on the road. And when I passed common entrance in 1977, and hearing big men stopping my dad while we were going to school, that Mr. Pollard, the sugar pan empty, 5 fortnights, nothing, no pay. That's when they moved the Ministry of Tobago Affairs back to Trinidad. So what Sertica spoke about last night, I lived it. Because when I want to beg my dad for an extra 50 cents while going Scarborough, I couldn't get it because the amount of money he have to dole out by every gang he reached. And that is because of part of the atrocity on Tobago by this Eric William and this PNM government. This evil empire since 1976. So we have been under that pressure. And what made me, as I said, I was in politics for almost 45 years now. I've been around with Mr. Robinson, Mr. Charles, Mr. Jack. But why I took to PDP is because I saw the fighter in Watson Duke. I have that spirit just as he has. You know that picture Roots long ago, where they had a guy named Shaka Zulu? I always say that I'm the Shaka Zulu because I'm tired of seeing Tobagonians being taken advantage of and bullied and making us feel like we don't have anything, we offer nothing to the island state of Trinidad and Tobago. So Watson really inspired me to join this movement. Those on the other side can't understand the dual role that Watson and Farley plays. The only thing they know is what Eric William left them since 1983. One monotonous thing. They cannot change. We come up with a new solution where we share leadership. That's a big problem. You hear the Prime Minister talking about this and who is leading and who hiding behind who and nonsense. Because they don't want to change. They want to stay in there, stick in their ways from since 1956. But that is not going to stop us. But I heard Tobagonians saying one thing, and it's nice to hear most people saying, time for change. But it kind of rubs me a kind of way when people say time for change. I prefer people to think that you deserve better. You deserve better from your representatives. It's not just change. You could change me today, you could change me tomorrow. It's not about that. It's about proper representation. Having you feel that self-worth, that you deserve better. And that is what you expect from your representative. As Pastor Baynes said, it must be selfless. Give when you don't have. And that's what PDP has been doing. We don't have. 1 week ago, I gave out $7,000 worth in hampers. You feel I did it out of my pocket, plus I begged. Because when you go to some of the homes, some of the people them are really, really in need. And you have these people with 400 food cards in their back pocket, walking around and giving people 4 and 5 to one home and them kind of foolishness, and other people are hungry. That is not the Tobago that I know. And that is not the Tobago that we should want. And as Pastor Baynes said, I will defend my leader to the hilt. I will defend Watson Solomon Duke to the hilt. I will defend Farley Augustine to the hilt. Is anything that Watson have said out of his mouth worse than what Keith Rowley have ever said out of his mouth? But I want to put on record tonight, let him know Tobagonians will not be bullied anymore, as Pastor Baynes said. We pushing back. We fed up by your nonsense. If you want to bully Trinidadians, you bully Trinidadians on day. But we will not be bullied anymore. We will not be bullied anymore in Tobago here. You threatened us last election in January. We creep from 2 seats to 6 seats. You come back and you threaten us again. Well, this time, we're taking everything. We're taking everything. Do not threaten Tobagonians.
PDP!
The wealth and the resources of this nation does not belong to PNM and PNM people only. It belongs to the 65,000 of us that are living here, and all those in the diaspora, those living in Trinidad and the outer world. Everything is just PNM, PNM, PNM for them. They don't care about anybody else. But put that in a record tonight, Mr. Prime Minister. We will not be bullied by you or nobody in your organization. He is a man, Watson built this party from scratch, from ground up, to what it is today. Everything is Watson. He bullied his way to his leadership. He bullied his way to leadership. He even spoke about working Obi and his leader to get him out of the way. How could he put his foot in Watson's shoe? Watson built something from scratch. But I know what is affecting him now. The way he was rejected by Tobago in 1986 in that general election. He never forgave us. But hear what? We do business. We reject you in 86 and we're going to reject you in 2021. We reject you in 86 and we'll reject you in 2021. Enough is enough. Since he came into office, he have told us, tighten your belt. How long we could tighten our belt? This is almost what, 6 years? 6 years we have been tightening our belt and nothing coming forward. But I want to remind Tobagonians, we were told to tighten our belt. Who almost closed gate? Not his administration. Who closed Petrotrin? You understand? But I want to tell them, let them mind the damn business on the next side. Leave PDP business for PDP people. Leave our business for we. Last night, and not only that, we had a functioning Ministry of Tobago Development. I was the advisor to the minister, Vanilla Allen Toppin. When Dr. Baker took it over, there were 180 employees, Tobagonians employed there, and over 500 trainees, getting good salaries and training. From time this man came into office, he shut everything down. You know what that did to the economy? You know what that did to businesses in communities? These are the people who would run to the shop, will take taxi to go to work, will do all these kind of things. When you send home 180 employees and 500 trainees, what are you doing to the society of Tobago? And PNM talking about great is the PNM? Great for who? Great for who? So Tobagonians, I want you all to remember that the persons that they would send home, they put out of jobs, is your neighbor, is your friend. You end up in their wake, you end up in their wedding, you end up everywhere. We cannot live like this. We are only 65,000. I spoke to a gentleman in the CSO office. Tell me how much persons are between the age 18 and 60. We have a working population of about 30,000 or 35,000. And we have received over $60 billion in the last 20 years. And we can't show nothing for it. We have so many people over the age of 60. We are going home, no gratuity, no pension, nothing. Where their contractors and their friends could be doled out millions of dollars to do 300 feet of road, 300 feet of drain. That is coming to an end come December 6th. All they make all they want right now, it's coming to an end. Last night I was in Cocaton in Runnymede. Me and my team, we went to hand out some jerseys and chat with the guys. And I heard a holdover want to be not yet. There's a counselor who's saying we ain't do it not yet. Talking about Farley and Farley treatment to women. So he gone from Watson now to Farley treatment to women. I'm telling you, we were there, we were inside the street and we were listening to him. And he's trying to lump Farley, how Farley treats Franca, and how Farley took the presiding officer with pre-action protocol letter and trying to lump it. I mean, a whole bunch of nonsense. They're not speaking about what they're doing for the community. And we have to go past that kind of politics. But I want to give advice to my opponent. He's my friend. We have been friends before. We do business together, Mr. Hislop. And I've been receiving some calls, and I want to put him on notice that he does not change his ideology of who he is. Because that is what the PNM does to you. They want to change your belief system. So when I receive phone calls from persons in the electoral district who are of his religious belief, complaining that he is speaking about pig farm and crayfish and wild meat, please, Mr. Hislop, do not let them change your ideology. Do not do that. But you know what was laughable also? I heard they were in a meeting in King Peter Bay Road last Saturday. And I heard that Sheldon was begging the people there at King Peter Bay Road, please forgive them. They want to make up. Because he and Crazy, because they have not delivered enough to the people there, so they want to make up with the people. But I want to tell them, the people of King Peter Barrow, don't want no sorry. Keep your bedtime story. Because we vote in PDP. Also, I heard my opponent saying that he's standing on the shoulders of these two former candidates. But I want to warn him and walking with them. Be careful who you walk with. Judas walked with Christ and betrayed him for 30 pieces of silver. One of them undermined the other to get his walk. Not working, a walk. So be careful. But what I want to say to my constituent, Christ is the solid rock on which I stand. Everything else is sinking sand. I don't have to stand on no one's shoulders. Once I'm standing on Christ, and I truly want to deliver to my people. You know, I heard Farley talk about the plans that they had, that they brought up for Scarborough. And someone mentioned something to me this afternoon, Farley and comrades. Tracy is saying that she has $60 million for beautification Scarborough Port. But yet you pay $38 million to renovate the market? So if you could take $38 million to renovate the market and you have $60 million, how $60 million could beautify it, could bring port? That just doesn't add up. It does not add up. So I'm just opening the eyes of Tobagonians. My opponent is speaking about things that the PNM have delivered. But let me tell you some of the things that I have delivered as a young man. In 1976, I led the Tobago Cub Scout delegation to the first Caribbean Cup in Barbados at age 9 years old. That is leadership. I was the vice captain of the Mason under-17 football team in the TFA under-17 tournament. I was a member of the Signal Hill Senior Comprehensive 1982 Intercol National Winning Team. First national title to be won by a Tobago team in football. We won the Sprite Trophy in 1983. In 1984, we won the league title. 1986 to 87, I coached the Mason United football team in the Village Olympics game, where we lost to Charlottesville on penalty kicks, Farley. In 1987, I received a football scholarship to attend the University of New Haven. In 1989, I was made vice captain of the University of New Haven football team. In 1992, I graduated with a dual major in accounting and economics with a minor in finance. In 2003, I coached and captained the Northside All-Star over 35 football team, who won the over 35 knockout trophy on penalties, where we beat Charlottesville Farley. We beat them on penalties 5-4 to win the trophy. In 2004, I coached the Mason Police Youth Club to gain promotion to the Premier Division of the TFA for the first time ever in the history of Mason Hall. In 2009, as president of the Signal Hill Senior Comprehensive Scarborough Secondary School, I was the PTA president, and I worked with a teacher to start the first sixth form at Scarborough Secondary School. But the crowning glory, if they're talking about people to deliver, this is the man to deliver for you. Because in 1995 was my proudest moment. Because 24,000 feet in the air, I delivered my own daughter aboard BWIA flight. That is delivery. So if they're talking about delivery, I am a deliverer. I could deliver. I want to go on to some of my plans for my area. My plans have not changed because in this short 10 months, I still have a focus of the acquisition of the Adelphi estate. You know, when I spoke about it last year, you see a lot of movements. Tractors came in, D6 came in, surveyors and everything like that. But I've been in the land business for 20 years now. So those actions don't scare me. You see, just as the people in Crown Point own their lands, and the government went in there through compulsory acquisition, when the Chief Secretary Farley sent his note down to the government and says we want to acquire Adelphi estate for village expansion, let them tell us no. So they could run and put in all they want, all the infrastructure. Most they may fetch is a little higher price. But if it's in the same state and condition, they'll receive the same price as agricultural produce, agricultural lands. So whatever they do, we as the owners of that day estate, we people of Mason Hall, we will still send a note to the cabinet to acquire Adelphi estate for village expansion. So I want it to go on record for them to hear. Because you know that The Prime Minister's wife bought 20 acres before. And just last month, you're seeing that they have another 20 acres. So that's 40 acres. And to tell you how these people don't want the locals around them. I looked at the square footage of these lands. And these lands were like 35,000 square feet a plot. Who Tobagonian could buy 35,000 square feet of land developed? That is almost 7 lots in people. So you're catering for a certain class of people living close to your establishment. But we will change that because we will acquire it for village expansion for our people in Masonol. But there's a lot of land grabbing going on, and I want the people of Masonol to open their eyes. Recently, one of my supporters sent me a picture at Bottom River. Now, if you know, I live contentious. Bottom River is just a stone throw away. And they paved the road straight down to the river. And there was a chain pulled across the road. So like we can't access the river. So we are still inquiring who pulled that chain and for what reason. But you're hearing about who owned from Alma River straight up to Indian Walk. And these are some of the things that is happening right under our noses in Mason Hall. And we don't know what is taking place. So there's a lot of land grabbing going on. And you know, we were duped in 2013 about Calcutta ship coming to take land and coming to do this. We really see who is taking the lands right now and for whom purpose. I still intend to do agricultural improvement through hydroponics and greenhouse. And I'm a man, I like to lead by example. Because, you know, my family, we have our own greenhouse. So that's where I assisted my nephew with his gardening, with grow these tomatoes and stuff like that. And this is something that I want to implement. I really want to, Farley, we must do something where we get these greenhouses at a reduced price, so farmers could at least, you know, it's the modern way to do agriculture, instead of being out in the hot sun. I also want to do a seed bank for local seeds, because should something happen on the outer world where we can't get seeds, we'll be in real trouble for our farmers. We want a proper functioning marketing division. I was the financial manager of the marketing division in THA. And I'm hearing that the marketing division is about to close in the THA, taken over by Tico Suave. And that is something that we have to re-implement, Farley, and make sure that we have a viable marketing division if we are going to promote agriculture. I know many people laughed at us in Masonol, but these are Masonol plans. Masonol will produce the first Olympic swimmer in Trinidad and Tobago. Because with the acquisition of this estate, we're going to build an Olympic-sized swimming pool in Masonol. Or keep policy. We don't want policy. We ain't going for policy anymore. We're going to build our own swimming pool. And you know when Whitey say he's going to do it, he will do it. As you could see, I still have in my vision the construction of the fire substation and ambulance substation. Because since 2017 to now, we have lost 13 houses in our electoral district. We lost one 3 weeks ago, waiting on a fire tender to come from Kambi to Moriah. So that has to change. We have to have a gas station, whether it be petrol or be electric. Whatever is going, we're going to probably have it dual, but it's something that is needed on the north side. I've written to the banks, like I said before, for ATM machine in Masonol. But I know when we get in there on the night of the 6th, that the banks will be knocking at our door to make sure that they put one in. They are cutting their style now, but let them go right ahead. So those are some of my plans. Also, I want to make sure that the land is distributed equitably among the people of my electoral district. And you know, while walking on Monday, a parent came to me, and I must talk to Zia and them about this, because they are into the education sector. She said the online schooling cutting the A as a parent or a grandparent, because they can't fight up with this technology. They don't know. They want to assist their children. So they are getting frustrated. The children are being frustrated, especially the children who are not academically inclined, but has to fight up with online schooling. So this is something that we have to look at in our multipurpose centers, in our community centers, that we must at least train have some classes for these grandparents and these parents who are not inclined in the social world, so they could assist their grandchildren. So I go on to Moriah now. We will complete the Moriah football field. The Moriah football field has been left languished for almost 20 years. No pavilion. The construction of a play park for children, because the field is big enough. We also want to construct a multi-purpose center because Moriah and Mason community centers have been the same since I was a little boy. So everybody else have multi-purpose facility, we have community center. So that must change. Also, rest stop along the north side, equipped with toilet facilities. Because we want to make King Peter Bay viable as Tor Bay or as Pigeon Point. Celery. We want to make those bays down there viable where people could have economic activities. The political leader and I were down there about a month ago helping the fisher folks there renovate the place that they store their engines and stuff like that. They can't even moor their boats at King Peter Bay. They have to do it in either Palativia or Golden Lane. So these are some of the things I want to do at King Peter Bay Road. Also removal of the long steps. 182 steps that must be removed. The land is slipping. The THA is now running like headless chicken trying to go in there and send in surveyors and do that, but we, the PDP, will deliver that to the people of Long Step. They have been clamoring for that for too long. And they need some kind of redress, some kind of relief, because they have senior citizens living up, they have to tow those groceries 182 steps up. So, take my word, Whitey will fix that. So we also want to work with the fishermen, as I said, to build this facility. I did write the fisheries division, the manager, and met with the fisher folk. They have a design doing now that they want to, whether they want to do the restaurants upstairs and the bars. So we have been working quietly with the fisher folks up there. I have worked with the gentleman with the last house on that street. He decided that he will give us water connection to go from his house down to the bay. Then when we get there, we're going to get street lights put in because it's very dark. So that is one of the projects that must be done in King Peter Bay Road to improve the lives of the people in my electoral district. And the Chief Secretary will be representative of part of the north side also, because part of his district runs from Castell. So that is on the north side. I know everything is on the east or down in the west, but the north side have people living there too, Farley. Somebody lives there. I want to help, we must help finance our bright minds. We have, in my electoral district, and I certainly it's all over, they have so many bright young kids coming out of university and high school. And I want to talk about one of them tonight, someone in my electoral district, who wants, I wouldn't call her name, who wants to be a cardiologist. Given the GATE program, and they're only paying, not even, it's cost 28,000 US, the THA is only paying 7,000 US. So she had to stop. We have to find ways, as Mr. Hochoy Charles in his regime did, to find ways to send Tobagonians when they want to specialize in this field. Find the money somewhere, let it take the GATE money, but we must find money to send them. You see, that is dear to my heart, a cardiologist, because most people don't know. 2 days ago was 34 years since I did my heart surgery. And when I go back to the United States, I take 4 hours from where we stay to my cardiologist. 4 hours one way, 4 hours return. So having a resident cardiologist in my community will not only bode well for me, but everyone else. So these young, bright minds, we have to help foster. Another thing that I spoke to my Chief Secretary aspirant on is we have spoken to landowner for a motorsport racetrack in Mason. Those guys who want to drive fast, they want a track. There's no need going and reinvent the wheel. It will bring economic activity to the north side. So we are in talks with him. So once that talk goes well, the motorsport racetrack will be in the north side of Tobago, Woodlands, Tobago. Also, the people of Moriah, you're not being left out where land distribution is concerned. I'm in talks with some landowners with 100 acres in Moriah. And they asked me if I could develop it. And what they want to do when it's developed, because they gave me the permission to speak about it tonight. When we finish developing it, they want to rent the lands to you all so that you could pass to have it your kids. The way the deed is structured that they cannot sell it, but they could rent it. at a minimal price to you, the occupant. So the people in Moriah will be able to have lands at affordable price to buy their home, to build their homes, and not have to move out from the area. I want to revitalize the Moriah Community Builders League, the Football League, also the Masonal Police Youth Club Football League. We have too much, as a former national player and as a recipient of a football scholarship, we have too much great, brilliant sportsmen just languishing, not doing anything, not being able to apply their trade. But we're going to revitalize that league. And we have connections where they will work with one coach, Kenny Hill, who works with the Olympic Development Program in the United States. So, Farley, you had us sign a social contract with you. I'm letting you know that I signed a social contract with my constituents that I will have to deliver come the 9th or the 10th of December when we are sworn in. So I have to deliver for my people. And I'll be very prejudiced about the people on the north side. You know, that's my passion. So I want to urge my constituents, you have only one choice. Come December 6th. Just look for the symbol, the bamboo bully fee. That's all. That is all. Not only in Masonal Moriah, but throughout all the 14 other constituencies in Tobago. The name is Ian Pollard, but like I said, don't look for my name. Just look for the symbol and put your X resoundingly next to the bamboo bully fee. So my brothers and sisters, I urge you, let us work together. Let us bring change and meaningful change to this island. Let us put people who put service before themselves, who care about your development. And let us fix this. It is not about just time for change, but you deserve better. So come out on December 6th and vote Ian Whitey Pollard. Put your X by the bamboo bully fee. A vote for Ian Whitey Pollard is a vote for Farley Augustine to implement all that is needed to change this island. So call a friend, call a neighbor, call a nene, and call a auntie. Do not let anyone stay at home on December 6th. Observe the COVID protocol, go out safely, and go out early. Do not wait for 5 to 6 or 5 o'clock to go and vote. Vote early. And to the young men, I must say to all of us, the 14 other candidates, that on a trick that a lot of them doing, the contractors who are inclined to P&M, is that they have these guys work and they have them work up to 5:45. So if they are working in Roxborough, they can't get to Mason to vote. So I'm imploring you to go and vote before you go to work. You are entitled to 2 hours to vote. If you go and they send you back home, that's no problem. We will fix the problem so that they may not be your bosses come the 9th of December. Because we can't have people treating people like this. You have your rights through your constitution to have 2 hours to vote, and you cannot deny someone that right. So call all your friends, family, people. Call them, let them come from Trinidad, wherever they're coming from, and vote wisely, and vote for the Progressive Democratic Patriots. I thank you.
Never know how time I take. They see me granny cut the toothpaste too. Where we are gonna do? I really want to know what we are gonna do. Spend a bag of money pan school fee. What a result if you pick me no pass.
So you heard from your current assemblyman and the next assemblyman for Mason Hall, Moriah. Give it up for Mr. Ian Anthony Pollard. So for those of you who are viewing on the live at present, we are going to cut the transmission to allow for us to listen to the Prime Minister's address, and we will resume promptly as soon as he is finished. Thank you.
LC the beat guy. the beat god. It's LC the beat god. LC the beat god. LC the beat god. LC the beat guy. the beat god. It's LC the beat god. the beat god. It's LC the beat god. LC the beat guy. the beat god.
Alongside Tobago said negative, it's negative, it's negative. 21 years of deathlessness. PNM make one long. PDP, we voting. PDP, we voting.
PNM make one long sauce. PDP said negative. Red Army make one long sauce. Tobago said negative. It's negative. Say negative. 21 years of deathlessness. PNM make one long sauce. PDP said negative. 21 years of tastelessness. Time to change the cooks. Tobago for PDP. Eat some good blue food and let me fix this pot. Season it up. Good governance is the ingredients. PNM make one long sauce. PDP said negative. Red Army make one long sauce. Tobago said negative. It's negative. Said negative. 21 years of deathlessness. PNM make one long sauce. PDP said negative. PDP, we voting. PDP, we voting. PDP, PDP, voting. Farley, voting. Farley, voting. Farley, voting. Farley.
You don't send a mumu to fight a fighter. You don't send a dummy to fight a fighter. Never is this what's go. PNM disrespectful. PNM disrespectful. Tell them.
You can't send a mumu to fight a fighter. You can't fool Tobago cause the people get wiser. PDP come let we fix this just like MacGyver. What's a nuke? You a real black warrior. You can't send the student to teach the teacher. Now the words that she speak, it come back to bite her. I'm saying this frank, you're a young deceiver. Fall immaculate with good character. That's why we vote PDP. Come let we vote PDP. It's for them youth, yeah. It's for them future. Tobago people intelligent and cute too. Come let we vote PDP. Come let we vote PDP. It's for
Good evening once again, Tobago. Welcome to part 2 of our PDP on the Road Mason Hall Mariah edition. You heard from our candidate for Bacalet, Miss Natisha Charles Pantin. You heard from our candidate, Assemblyman Terence Baynes, for the electoral district of Bethel, New Grange. You also heard from our featured candidate tonight, Assemblyman Ian Pollard, for the district of Mason Hall, Mariah. Tobago, some of you just listened to the Prime Minister. I want to present to you our next Chief Secretary, the man who will set your hearts at ease, the man with the plan, the man who would ensure that come December 7th, Tobago could now take its responsibility seriously to take our COVID response back into our hands. What works in Trinidad may not work in Tobago. Our Chief Secretary is going to lead us to the place that we need to be. I want you to stand as we put our hands together for our next Chief Secretary, Mr. Farley Augustine.
A week but I'm holding on in order to stay around in a life therapy imbalance. For it is nature's way until judgment day. Weakness ain't got a chance. Playing strong cause I realize the price little one must pay to keep the big one in paradise. It's torment and misery all day. Destruction of the weak is nature's plan.
Good night, PDP family. Good night, Tobago. Yes, thank you all for being patient and thank you all for waiting. You see, our party, despite the political differences, is a party that like to respect offices. And tonight we took a decision to pause our meeting to listen to the goodly Prime Minister from his office speak to the nation in these difficult times, and to sum up the collective response of the nation. That's the best response you could get from the nation. Because after 43 minutes and some change, we got no better assurances that somehow we will get this done better. And the thing about leadership is that in difficult times, you have to find a way to bring comfort, to bring hope, and to steer the direction of the country. And we did not see that tonight. We got a brief history, well, a not so brief history of the COVID-19 pandemic. But there's a need for us to do more. And perhaps I should start by reminding you, as I did last night and the night before, of the need for you to be safe, and of the need for you to protect yourself, and of the need for you to observe all the protocols that are in place, and the need for you to be on the safe and right side of the law. Because I don't want to see any of you arrested. I don't want any of you sick and in ICU. And I want you to just be safe. I want us to get through this safely so we can get to December the 6th. Let me also tonight pause for a moment to extend on behalf of the entire PDP family deepest condolences to Dr. Denise Soyafat Angus and her entire family on the passing of her mother. Certainly this must be an exceedingly difficult time for her. Politics as itself and politicking as itself is stressful, much more to treat with the loss of a parent during this time. So we extend deepest condolences to you and your family. Being on different sides doesn't mean we cannot be hospitable at times. There's a time for war and there's a time for peace. We will war hard tomorrow, but tonight we extend condolences to her and her family. Tonight, let me say greetings, special greetings to Comrade Duke and Comrades Alicia Roberts Patterson and Dr. Faith B. Israel. Tonight, there are several things I want to talk to you about, but I want to narrow them down. Narrow them down to the basic relationship between Trinidad and Tobago. You see, many of us think that it is just a PNM versus Trinidad thing, when in reality it might just be a Tobago versus Trinidad thing. Many think it's a PNM versus Tobago thing, but it's really a Tobago versus Trinidad thing. And it's not that from this platform we have hatred for Trinidadian brothers and sisters, but we recognize from this platform a move afoot to keep Tobago enslaved. Come on, I want you to follow me tonight. When you see a prime minister taking his good self to come to Tobago to cuss out people who are opposed to his party, you know that a war is afoot on the people of Tobago. When you see they could fill up the buses and the boat and come up to campaign to try to save Tobago for themselves, you must know that a war is on. When you see that they can buy up all the radio stations and TV stations, and they could cut out here and cut in there and spread false propaganda without any fear of lawsuit, maybe because they know we have plenty of money to go to court, but they just cut out and sell wrong information and hoping it will stick, you know a war is afoot against things that are intrinsic to Tobago. When you know they can bring the most scandalous radio hosts and a man who get deactivated long time ago and try to bring them together to bad talk and to talk nonsense, you know a war is afoot. And the reason why a war is afoot is because they're running scared. It's because they're seeing the handwriting on the wall. It's because they know defeat is near for them. But this election, Tobago will win and Tobago must win. In this election, you, the people of Tobago, have to win. You have to win. PDP. And when in this election, we could look around and look at how bad things are. All the time you tell me the economy bad, you can't help with, you can't give with nothing, you can't solve things. Only secretaries could give out food card, you can't get gratuity. Hold on, keep your 3 months contract and be quiet because things bad. But as bad as things are, you suddenly find money to pave every road, to hire your friends as contractors to give you kickback money to fund your campaign. You suddenly find money to build things you should have built for 21 years. And as Brother Pollard said, they can't even do the maths correct. Because if it costs us over 30 million just to slap on some paint, change a roof and power wash the market, how the hell it costing you 60 million to do a whole waterfront? They can't even lie good. They can't even make up the figures good. And I feel I need to pitch a call to Dr. Vanos James and loan them Dr. James, a real economist, so they will get their maths right. Because Joel Jack has been getting his maths wrong since he was Secretary of Finance. So wrong that every time an Auditor General report comes out, it's showing how wrong the man is, how wrong the THA is. And yet in this season, is a set of gimmickry, mockery, foolishness that they purport in an attempt to trick you. But we all know who the father of lies is. We know who the father of lies is. And maybe many of them subscribe to his theories, but not in this election. And in this campaign, as we approach the final week, we have to find time to expose their folly. We have to find time to expose to Tobagonians how they have gone about this the wrong way. You can't suddenly, after 21 years, now find land to give farmers. No. You now realize again land that you could give some farmers something. 35 farmers, I saw the press releases. And of course, those farmers, the thing ain't done prepare yet, because they have to wait on surveying information and all of that. What they get is a letter of commitment from the THA to say, we will give you a piece of land. And they might get it in full legal authority sometime early next year. But they so want to campaign and to find something to campaign on that they call them before the process is finished to give them the letters. And I'm saying, is that how we plan to fix agriculture on this island? Where the abattoir, not one single operational public abattoir on the island, not one. When I was growing up, Roxborough had one that was functioning. There was one in town. Now it have none. We have regressed. We're going back. Backyard butchering. That's what we're going back to. That's what PNM has brought us back to. And we cannot accept that. You're talking agriculture. Where the proper labs? Where are the labs? When our agro-processors decide they want to create foods to sell, where are the labs in Tobago that they can carry their stuff to be properly certified so that it's safe to put on a supermarket shelf? Where are the labs? They say to pack a cooler with ice and pack the goods and hope the conditions remain the same and take it down to Trinidad to get tested. When we could have set up our own right here in Tobago, you ain't serious about agro-processing? If you're serious about agriculture, how it is that Sabga could get 12 acres before our people could get a 1 lot or 2 lot somewhere to farm? How come? I have people in Cove complaining and saying, Farley, they ain't even give we no kind of real benefits or incentives in this place. I writing and begging them for a lease of land so I could come out of the factory shelf and I could expand and get bigger. 2 years now writing and begging. Can't get it. But all of a sudden a Trinidad man could come up and get whole 12 acres and he, a Tobagonian, still begging and waiting. That is wickedness to the highest order. That is wrong, wrong, wrong. And we have to right those wrongs on December the 6th. We have to right them. How come you now know about agriculture? Where are our programs for adequate veterinary services? Where is it? Where is our sperm bank? We tried it once and it mashed up, it failed. Once upon a time, you could have go down to Studley Park area there, Bleming, and find some of the best quality breeds of sheep and goats. Not anymore. Not anymore. As a farmer, as a goat farmer, except if your name Rowley, of course, and except if you could afford to import the rarest breeds from all over the place and put AC to take care of them. But if you're a humble goat farmer like myself and you're struggling to come up the ranks, you're struggling to meet towards the 50 mark in terms of the number of goats you have, then you know that sometimes you have to beg the sheep and goat farmer that coming from Trinidad, let me swap a ram with you now, so that I could get proper breed for the animals I have, so I don't have inbreeding. Where is our program for that? If you're serious about agriculture, where is the research unit for agriculture? And how much work is that research unit doing? And how much money are you pumping into that research unit? You can't get agriculture done right without proper research. You can't. And where the training for our farmers? What is happening at our farm schools? Why haven't we developed it yet? We were told of this great idea before. We will have an agriculture museum down in Kendall Farm School. We talk about tertiary education for agriculture. But where it is? Where it is? And Tobago, I want you to understand, every election cycle is the same thing. One bag of promises, one bag of false hope, one bag of illogical arguments and illogical reasoning. And then we get tricked into voting for it. And then we spend the next 4 years complaining and begging the same Watson to march and block road on your behalf. Foolishness. This election, you have to stand up for yourself. Now is not time for anybody to stand on your behalf. You have to stand for yourself. And then, on top of that, they have the unmitigated gall to walk about the place and say, well, our leader is good and clean and all kind of nonsense. And Farley can't talk zipline again. Well, I'm calling the name zipline tonight. If you want, sue me if you want. I'm calling the name zipline. Because I want to tell you how tricky Tracy is. Because you're threatened with lawsuits since January morning. You ain't bring your case to court until you know the election done call. And once you have a case before the court, it means you can't talk about it until the case is duly tried. So if you know you wanted this case ventilated in the court, why shouldn't bring it before? The only reason why she brought it when she did is in hopes that it could silence me. But you might be able to silence me, but you can't silence Tobagonians, and you can't silence right-thinking people. We're not stupid. And then we have a chief secretary playing smart with stupidness, talking about he going to sue company and all kind of dotishness. You should sue yourself and sue the executive council for poor management. Oh Lord! Take the entire exec council before court and let them pay for foolish management, because I have in my possession executive council notes where you budgeted $4 million for a zipline project. By the time we get to 2016, when the zipline should have been opening, you already spent over $3 million of the $4 million budget. And if you spend more than half, if you spend more than 3/4 of your budget, where the hell the zipline is, and you're coming to talk about it's somebody else's fault. How can it be someone else's fault? How is someone else's fault? PDP. Your own former Secretary of Tourism stood up in the THA House of Assembly and said to the people of Tobago that they took a decision to store the zipline materials in a storage container out in Miami. And at the time of her answering a question for me, it had racked up over $100,000 of your money in storage fees. You better look on Storage Wars and see if you see somebody bidding to get your container with zipline materials. Sue yourself. Foolish. Sue yourself. Because you have mismanaged a project. You have mismanaged a project. Compare that with PDP. Compare that with PDP. I see Brother Trevor James take an old house and an old piece of land, level the thing down, and in a matter of about 2 weeks, you see brand new shiny office open up. That is performance. That's how PDP does perform. We just take a little and make it into something. A whole $4 million budget. You spend over $3 million on the project already. You spend more than half of the project. And you telling me that it's somebody else's fault why you ain't get zipline? And how come it's somebody else's fault now when you came a year ago and tell us 85% of the zipline here? So when the 85% there, show Tobago. And the reason why this came up, is because an Auditor General's report brought it to our attention that when the Auditor General come looking, and I could imagine the poor accountant come and see we spend in excess of $3 million on a $4 million project looking for zipline, and all she finds is a piece of rope. Is the Auditor General says so? Not PDP. And so me and Fred, whenever the court case come, I will deal with her. But as of now, I am dealing with her for December the 6th. Because that seat she wants to sit in, she will not sit in it. And let me make it clear. I share the same political blows to men politicians as women politicians. This is gender equality from this platform. If you are ready for politics, leave it alone. If you can't take political talk, leave it alone. I spare no man nor woman when it comes to the politics at Tobago, because Tobago's people's business has been left behind for far too long, and we have to fight to defend Tobago's people's business. We have to fight to defend Tobago's people's business. We don't have time to waste. Because the monies that we have wasted could have gone into real agriculture. The monies we have wasted could have helped those farmers up in the hill in Mount St. George. I journeyed up there about a month ago, and you see, unlike the current chief sec, when I journey, I don't have to take pictures all over the place, because I go in farms long before he go in farm, and my boots ain't clean. Any workman know that your boots, if you are accustomed to farm road, does be dirty. When I put the farm boots in my vehicle, I have to clean up my inside my vehicle after. First it's dirty. I have to put on newspaper to catch the dust. That is a real workman's boots. I may need to take no photos, but about a month ago I visited some farms way up in the back of Mount St. George. People begging for help. The road could barely accommodate the vehicle I have. Look at me, I feel like I'm falling in some ditch first the road bad. And we're spending millions every year on agriculture access roads. Last budget, 30 million was budgeted for the new fiscal year for agriculture access roads. Where are those roads going? We see the money, but where are the roads going? Who are the contractors you're giving to do those roads? Are those roads leading to any real farms? I stood in the house and I pointed out where the former Secretary of Agriculture built an access road to the Tobago Goodwood. No farm not there. Only he family land there. And the man ain't even kind enough to extend the road to where other people land there. He stopped it right by his land and done. And the THA, the Executive Council, had nothing to do or say about that. Tobago, I am warning you. I told you all mutual funds are not the same. And all leaders are not the same. And when I tell you that she's untrustworthy, her reputation speaks for itself. Go ask Kelvin. Go ask Kelvin Charles. Oh no, you can't hear peep out of him. First she shut the man up. First she let the man stick a pin. After she told Tobagonian she will not kick him out when she won the leadership of her team. The woman could not even be chief sec, but yet she found a way to kick him out. Is that the person you want to trust? Is that the person you feel will have your best interest at heart? If you could treat your own like that, how are you going to treat me? Imagine if them win and we lose. All of we here who are part of this democracy might have to migrate because we might be dead. Because her reputation says that she destroys anybody who disagrees with her, who has a different political view from her, even if they are members of her own party. That is not the kind of leadership you want. The kind of leadership you want is somebody who, when your enemy fall, you pick up the phone and call them and pray for them, even when you know they will turn back and lie about it and lie on you. That's the kind of leadership you need. That's what you need, Tobago. I'm sure you're not getting that on the other side. In fact, I don't even know if they just pray. But you're not going to get that on the other side. So Tobago, what do you want from this election? What do you want? And Dr. Vanos reminded me of something this morning. He said, Farley, I fought along with Hochoy Charles for the Dispute Resolution Commission to give us more money. I wonder if you remember that, Tobago. The days when Pandey was Prime Minister and Pandey had a very love-hate, more hate than love for Tobago. THA could barely pay their teachers. I was a high school student every Monday morning. Them teachers in Bishops walking out on the protest. They pay late. They're not hiring new staff because they have no money to do it. And they took the THA to the DRC. Something Dr. Vanos reminded me this morning, that then minority councillor and worker with Tobago News Orville London disagreed with. They took them to the DRC, won 4.03% to 6.9%. That money was supposed to help to build out a robust economy in Tobago. You had 21 years of it. 21 years of about $40+ billion, and still the economy failed. You have failed more than the economy. You are the common denominator. You are the reason for the failure of the economy. We will not forget that, and we cannot forget that. You had more money. The last or the second 20 years of the THA had more money than the entire first 20 years of the THA. More than double, more than triple. When you look at them old budgets, they weren't talking in billions. They're barely scratching a million. 100,000s they're talking in. And from 2001, everything jumped up to million this, million that, billion that. And still yet, you did not build a robust economy. And then you have a drunken fella call himself punching, go on stage and ridicule the private sector as if it's their fault why they fail, when in reality it's a THA that have failed them and failed the people of Tobago. So sue yourself and sue the Executive Council. PDP! And you know what is interesting? They're setting up a law case against a company that is not native to Trinidad and Tobago. And I know what they're trying to do. Set up a case for which the company cannot come and answer. The company will not come and answer. So a default judgment can be had. And then they could walk around Tobago and say, we win a case. And we're fighting to get back the money. But you know, this kind of remind me of the ring bank money. A court case we win, but we never get the money for it. Well, the other money rather. You remember that? You remember that? We voted out a chief sec on ring bank and other. We voted out a chief sec because he had a big concert in Shaw Park to celebrate the turn of the millennium with local and regional artists. We voted him out of office because he invested in a scheme called ADA. We voted him out of office. And since then, we have had more jazz than we had ring bang. We wasted more money on jazz than was spent on ring bang. And nobody ain't say nothing. And I'm saying to Begonians, you have to watch yourself in the mirror tonight and ask yourself how it is you could have run down and kick out Hochoy for ring bang, but you're okay with jazz, where we could spend $430,000 on one artist that never sing a single note, and all now we can't get back the money. And on top of that, the then Secretary for Tourism came to the house and lie and talk about how they're filing court case against D'Angelo. And then when a young man in Tobago sent a FOIA to the office asking for the court case, the administrator responded by saying, well, there is no court case. We never filed any court case. You see how they're tricky? Yes, sir. And the person who was in charge of that jazz festival is back, and they bring him back and put him in charge at Tobago's cultural experience. Yes, no remorse, no apology, no nothing. As far as I'm concerned, the excuse that D'Angelo, granny or somebody died, why he couldn't come, sounds very fishy. But we will find out post December the 6th. Because all hidden things shall be made plain. We will find it out. And that is what they're fighting against. Because they don't want us to find out these things. They do not want us to find out these things. They want us to keep everything cloaked up, secretive. If D'Angelo really con us, why we ain't go after the people who were responsible for bringing D'Angelo here? They feel we're stupid. When you're getting big artists for these shows, you usually place the money in an escrow account. And if you don't know what that big term means, it means you're putting it in an account when neither the performer nor the promoter can touch it until the performance is finished. And your reason for putting it in an escrow account is so that you can ensure the performer shows up. The only thing the performer gets before, it will be a down payment that will facilitate his or her travel to the island. After they perform, the day they reach and start to perform, you release the people money to them because they're here to perform. So if our money was in an escrow account as is the custom, why we can't get back with money that was paid for D'Angelo? That in somebody's pocket. And Tobagonians, while you there, being mama guide with food cards at this late stage, being mama guide with a work that they might close down after 2 weeks, because that is how they operate. In August last year, they run quick, open up a reforestation program. After the election done, 2 weeks passed, they send home everybody and end the program and say the program wasn't properly formulated, so that to send them home. That is how they operate. And I'm telling you, do not be fooled in this election. They want to fool you in this election. They want in this election for you to be fooled by small things. Divide the $500 they get in the food card by 4 years and see how much money that is per year. Divide it by the number of days for 4 years and see how much money a day that is. And ask yourself if that is what you are worth. I tell you, Tobago, your price is far more than rubies. You are worth much more than that. And stop selling yourself short for chicken licking. Stop selling yourself short for small fries. Stand up for something bigger and something much more important than that. Don't be fooled. And out of desperation, they have decided that they will just have a campaign to slander everybody on this side, to talk all kind of things. All of those ads they have on TV, slander us, libel us, telling lies, taking statements out of context, from one context and trying to merge it with one, cutting short some of the interviews, cutting out words here and there, doctoring tapes, all of that they're involved with. But, Pastor, I serve a mighty God. I serve a God that works miracles. And I serve a God that believes in justice. And the moral arc of the universe might be long, but it always bends towards justice. And I am certain as night follows day that justice will come to us and come to them on December the 6th. Because Tobagonians are ready. We are ready for that change. We're ready. And I want to beg of you, Tobago, tonight. I want to beg of you. Spend some time over this weekend. Turn off all the devices. See a little prayer. And then start to contemplate on where we are as an island. Ask yourself if you are satisfied. Ask yourself that. And let me be clear. I will never from this platform say they ain't build a drain, or they ain't fix a road, or they ain't build a wall, or they ain't build a center. I will never say that. But ask yourself, have you gotten value for money? Have you gotten enough? Have you seen $40 billion of development on this island? And if so, why are we still behind our neighbors in so many ways? Why? You have to do some introspection. You have to. You feel if we were satisfied, we'll be here in black. We might have all been red. But the reason why we're not in red is because we recognize that for Tobago to get deliverance, for Tobago to get development, we need a Tobago-centric and indigenous Tobago party to run the affairs of the people of Tobago. PDP! We don't want no arrangement where no Alwari could come up and feel it running Tobago and tell you how much waters you have control of. We ain't want no arrangement where no prime minister could come up with his bitterness and acrimoniousness and his hatefulness and his spitefulness and his vindictiveness to come and tell you you can't get money if you ain't vote for me. Foolishness. You do not want an arrangement where no minister in Trinidad had to sign off on whether your house plan could pass, whether your plan for a business could pass, and decide and determine whether or not your development is of value enough to be placed on the landscape of Tobago. You don't want an arrangement where a cabinet could walk in any day and give away your land and say, hey, build a hotel, hey, plant farm, hey, look this, hey, build a house, and you sit down like a lopey dog in a press conference, calling yourself chief sec, but sit down like a lopey dog to announce a private investment and development that you did not create, that you did not inspire, that was not debated at a THA assembly chamber, that the executive council did not approve, but that somebody in Trinidad approved. What the hell are we fighting for then? Is either we want the autonomy or we don't want it. And if we're saying we want the autonomy, we're saying we want the right to do our own business ourselves, and we ain't want no cabinet in Trinidad to come up Tobago and decide how Tobago lands must be used. Is your land. The cabinet out of place. And that's why I'm running to be a chief sec. Because see that other lady on the other side, she can't tell Rowling nothing. She can't disagree with you at all. But Rowling knows that the day I become chief sec is the day I start to tell him what Tobagonians want. And he has to respect that. He must respect that. He has to respect that. This ain't no play thing. And no prime minister come in and tell me to sit down. Hell no, we have been sitting down for too long. It's time to stand up and stand for something, man. Sitting down too long. Taking disrespect after disrespect. And what is amazing is that the man who was loudest in 2013, rightfully calling out Kamala and her intrusion and talking protocols, he quiet. Since he come on from England, maybe he left his tongue with the Queen, but he quiet. Ain't saying a word. And I want to ask you tonight, Mr. Orville London, tell us, do you agree with the autonomy bill as it is? Tell us that. You walk around Tobago and tell us we deserve 200 miles of water. You print all kind of paper. You went on all kind of platform. You talk about protocols. You get protests outside a church. Protests in Roxborough. Don't come up here and open nothing in Tobago. Don't open no gas station in Tobago. Don't open no school in Tobago. Go back down Trinidad. Yet you are quiet while your political leader coming up and giving away Tobago lands and giving away Tobago things and giving away Tobago resources. And you ain't saying nothing. You are a hypocrite.
Oh Lord.
Of the highest order.
You know,
a hypocrite. It's either we stand for something or we fall for anything. It's either we stand up today or we will lose every single thing. And let me tell you what is going on with them. They already mash up Trinidad. They mash up Trinidad. Both political parties had their turn mashing up Trinidad. And now they think Tobago is a new frontier. The crime skyrocketing down there. Too many people feel like they're unequal, they're uneven, they have no chance in the society down there. And they find Tobagoans looking nice and we peaceful and we kind and quiet and we passive and we just sit down and love up everybody. So they think Tobago is a new frontier for the kind of unscrupulous business practices. And I'm telling you, Tobago is not your new frontier. Columbus gone long time. We are no longer welcoming colonizers to the land of Tobago. Go back. Go back. We no longer welcoming colonizers. If you are to come and invest in Tobago, you come on Tobago's terms. You come on our terms. There's a reason why there's a Tobago House of Assembly. There's a reason why Robinson and Murray fought for this. There's a reason why in 96 they came back and fought for more authority. It's so that a THA in a very respectful and dignified manner can sit down, determine its development priorities, and then determine who we invite and who we don't invite. And if you're invited to come here, or if we accept your proposal to come here, it must be on our terms, not your terms. You can't stay down in Trinidad and decide first in Tobago where hotel going. You're mad? And granted, I have no problem with a Marriott. I have no problem with a hotel being built here. I don't even have a problem with Sanders. But it is not for any cabinet to decide where that go and how we go and who builds it. That is the duty of the THA. When you check the 5th schedule of Act 40 of 1996, tourism is listed big and bold there. Tourism is one of our responsibilities. And them on the other side want you to vote for an arrangement where they can keep giving back our responsibilities to Trinidad. Where they can keep selling us to Trinidad for cheap. Where they could keep saying, Trinidad, you decide. And they sit down on their laurels in Tobago, not doing anything. The Prime Minister had a right to tell them to sit down and shut up. Because he knows that it's time for a real leader to stand up. And for real leadership to stand up and take charge of this place called Tobago. We have to stand up for something. We have to stand for something in this island. And our entire autonomy debate hinges on this election. It hinges on this election. It hinges, our development hinges on our autonomy. So many bright ideas from bright people in Tobago, and you can't get a pass. You're writing proposals for 21 years, you can't even get a response. The only time you deserve a response is because of an election. If PDP goes there and ever do you that, you have the right to run us out of office. Because a government is supposed to work from day one to the last day. Not when an election is in the air, you come and you do something, you come and you give something, and hope that the bribery will work. I have a business in Castara, beautiful lady, shut down in the first lockdown, business mash up. I go by, she sit down and she step, help she sign up all the forms, we email and everything. I have the receipts in my email that he was sent. No grant, no response, nothing. She finally gets some money, went down Island Finance, beg, get some money, open back up. 2 weeks after she opened back, locked down a second time. Island Finance calling she for their money. All the debtors calling for she for their money. No grant. But because an election is coming, you finally find money to give people like her the grant. Tell me how is that fair? Tell me how that is dignified. Tell me how that is treating you in a humane manner. That could never be right. It could never be right. Some of you got your grant and you're expecting to get the rental assistance. You're waiting. Landlord trying to put you out every single Monday morning because the landlord has things to do too. The landlord has bills to pay too. You're living by the people for free, hoping the government rental program will kick in. They promise you it will kick in. You're going social services every week, begging, and it ain't kicking in. Well, kick them out of office and see how quickly it will kick in. That is patently unfair. And that's why I'm fighting so hard in this election. That's why you have to fight so hard in this election. Forget all the old noise. Forget the gimmicks. Forget even the politicking. Forget the pick-on. Even those from this platform. Cut out all of that from your mind and think straight through to the real issues. You have been struggling because they set up this system to fail you, and the only time you could get something is when you have to go and beg them for something. You are not the beggar's maid. Your parents weren't beggars. You are a generation of proud Tobagonians. Lift up your head and stop beg. You're not begging them for a thing. Now is the time to act. Now is the time to get serious with them. Now is the time. All you youth men on the block, you ain't voting for the longest while. Things hard now. You can't even get a proper PJ to do when the day come. You can't sit down and not vote again. You can't sit down there and smoke away your life and hope for the best. Come on, man. Come on, youth man. You have to join this fight too. And you don't need to have no big PhD to join this fight. You just have to be a real Tobagonian to join this fight. Get up and get yourself going. Young lady, teenage mother, you're there and you're wondering where next to turn. Where next to turn your head. Nothing working out for you. Struggling. Like that young lady I met, former student of mine, have a child. She shame when she see me with the child. Because she didn't want nobody to know she had this child. Child struggling with Turner syndrome. The poor young lady had to try to get the child properly diagnosed. The last thing they tell her she needs some blood tests, and it's not being offered at the public hospital because it's a very expensive blood test. So she can't get no assistance until the child is properly diagnosed. We have people like that who are left outside of the system. That's what we have to fix. You can't continue with business as usual. Kelvin tell we look for business as unusual. What you didn't know is that you'll get kicked out as unusual. These are the people we have to fight for in this election. Many of you in this room probably have it good. Many of you in this room know you have food in the kitchen pantry. Many of you all in this room have something to go home to. You don't have to worry about the rent. But there are people right now hoping the landlord and get vexed tomorrow and put them out. It are people watching this live and keeping the volume low because they don't want the landlord to know that they're listening to PDP meeting and they have money to keep the internet going to watch a sensible meeting, but they have no money to pay their rent. That's real life. This election is about that. It's not about wine and jam. It's not about who are the fanciest things or the biggest billboards. But this election has to be about those real issues. About those real issues. And we have one more week to go. One more week to go. And in this next week, we have to double down. And I want to beg you PDP supporters, you ain't win no election yet. You ain't win no election yet. Election is won when election day is done. You ain't win yet. Tobago ain't win yet. And for Tobago to win, you have to get up and help us. We can't reach everybody. We have no money to be on TV6 and CNC3 and TTT and on all the radio stations. We have no money for that. But I know you're more bigger than any TV and any radio. And I know you could help spread the gospel, the good news that salvation has come. Salvation has come. Political salvation has come. Before they say I'm sacrilegious, political salvation has come. You have a choice to accept it or to shut the door. But let me warn you, you reject it and you follow yourself, find yourself in bad house. It is difficult to make a comeback from there. Not every prodigal daughter and son does make their way back home. Some does be cut off before they reach home. And so I'm warning you, you have a few days to make your way home. And PDP is welcoming all of you. Everybody. Even if you're in PNM meeting tonight, even if you walk and canvass with them today, and you know you're walking with the wrong team, that is okay. Even if you like the color red, that is okay. Like the red if you want, walk with them if you want, but on election day when them can't see you, go in the polling station with you and Massa God above and stamp it and dig it in next to the bamboo bullifay. That is what you have to do. That is how you have to operate. Because we understand how they like victimization. We understand that if they see what you really want to do, that they will kick you out of the job before the election come. We understand that if they see what you want to do with your vote, they will not give you the second tranche of the grant you're waiting on. So hide and vote PDP if you have to. That's what you have to do. And I understand some of them have big money to pass on the block for lime. Take the money. Have your little zest. Observe the COVID protocols. And go on election day and still vote them out of office. All the time you couldn't find work. All the time your road can't get paved. And the thing's so foolish. If it is we had a structured program for repairing roads, we wouldn't be wasting money the way we're wasting money. Last election, Saturday night before election, the paving in Campbellton Road in Shallerville. Yet, right across from there behind the Adventist Church and Pentecostal Church, have a road where the drivers can't even get to the house. The car is spinning wrong, they can't even drive up. But if there are a systematic program for repairing roads, they will actually repair the worst roads first. Instead, they're trying to repair the roads where they feel they have an advantage to win a seat. But that's not working here tonight. You could pave road every night till midnight. That ain't working here tonight. You feel you're bright? We brighter. That ain't working here tonight. We have seen through that. That is all the politics. When you listen to this platform, and some people say, Farley, you start to get boring. I said, that is okay. Because when I listen to this platform, you hear us talk about contracted employees. You hear us speak about our plans to agriculture and revitalizing that. You hear us speak about our plans to education and the two-track system. You hear us speak about sports to the point where Whitey done gone with the fast self, meet up with private landowner that start to build a track and say, look, PDP is willing to partner with you. Come, let's have a discussion. We ain't win yet, but we start the discussion on how we could get you a motorsport racing track. You hear discussion about how to build small communities to finally get fire station on the north side. So this fire station don't have to come from fire ambulance, don't have to come from Quite Shervan to get to you in Castara when your house on fire. Your house sure burned down by the time you reach. We have discussed helping out the police so we can return the police station to Moriah. We talk about land and housing trust. We talk about how we're going to build homes for the poorest among us and those who will never be able to afford to build a home. We talk about a robust program to give you access to land. We talk about a development bank so your businesses will have access to funding that the bank's refusing to give you. We're talking real plans from this platform. Real plans from this platform night after night because we want you to be part of a compact with us. That these are the things we are going to achieve. I know what I love about my Tobago people. Every night, some of you all will WhatsApp, you will send Facebook messages to suggest additional ways, additional solutions to the problems we discuss. That is the kind of governance we're practicing here. People participatory democracy, I call it. Where you, the people, can participate in your own governance. You could actually tell us what to do. You could actually sit down with us and go through ideas. I have proposals on people, 5 pages, 10 pages. People offering solutions to some of our problems. Because Tobagonians believe that this platform will actually hear their voice. On the other side, nobody listening to you. Except if it's an election time. And not even then they're listening. Not even then they're listening. And so, we have a plan for them on December the 6th. We have a plan for them. Tobago has done this before. Tobago was with PNM before. And Tobago got up, rise up, and kicked them out. And for 20 years, they never see the face of power in Tobago. That's what Robinson did. That's what Murray did. That's what Pamela Nicholson did. And I know it's that kind of bitterness and revengefulness that Dr. Rowley has in his heart for Tobago. Because we rejected him before and we will reject him again come December the 6th. Because this is not an election against Tracy. This is an election against Rowley. This is Farley versus Rowley. It's not Farley versus Tracy. And we will reject him come December the 6th. We'll reject him. Tobago did it in 2001. Love Hochoy Charles or hate Hochoy Charles, the reality is Tobagonians got up in 2001 and took a conscious decision to make a change. I was still in high school. I was one of those young people who said, nah, mommy, nah, daddy, all you're voting on the wrong side, all you have to change. I didn't believe in all of the narrow story. I was one of, because all I knew is that my teachers couldn't come to school because they weren't getting paid, because they weren't getting help with sufficient hiring in the teaching service. That's all I saw. And Tobago rejected Hochoy in 2001. Now we are in 2021. We give you 21 years, for God's sake. I was in first form when the library mashed up. First form when the bus terminus mashed up. First form when that whole block with the mall became compromised because of an earthquake. Those days we were in a classroom we used to call the cow shed at Bishop's. Some wooden classroom with some shed roof. And we used to go outside and shake the building to simulate the earthquake and get them girls running out, screaming out of the building. I will never forget that. And PNM's governance was so poor and bad that I leave high school. I work for 2 years with TSTT. I go off and I study quite in Jamaica. I come back, all of that before the library get finished. That's how bad the governance is. Donkey years it took me to get one financial complex. Donkey years and $1 billion to get one cultural complex. And when I look at the cultural complex, still incomplete. In fact, the old Shopper cultural complex was more useful than this new one. As a teenager, you could have gone for anything is down there, watching basketball, netball. You're having concert pan taking place down there. I was down there doing monologue, all kind of thing. I could still remember the monologue all now, a hangman's cry, talking from the perspective of Dolce and the gang that were hanged for murder. And now we have a facility could barely use. You could play netball inside there. You could play basketball inside there. That was supposed to be our Madison Square Garden, where at one point you could have sports, and next point you could have cultural events, and next point you could have theater and bougie events. It's just there. And I'm still asking for them to show us receipts where they pay to use it to have the campaign launch. Because I sure they pay. But after December 6th, we will send them a bill and they will have to pay for using it. PDP. When they came into office, they promised us that they will be different than Charles. They tell us all kind of story. And I will read for you one of these nights, Mr. London's first speech in the House as Chief Secretary in 2001, at the first sitting, and what he promised Tobago. I could read that speech right now to you, and you will swear it's somebody reading it in 2021. They have done worse. Look at that road running behind Shaw Park. You remember the big fanfare? Where they come and tell us the road got fixed, and they got build a road on budget and on time, and it will be a sign of a different kind of THA. Well, it really is a sign of a different kind of THA. The road going on Scarborough said going now. And the water tank shifting too. And them going. In fact, they're gone. Nobody just fight up like a man on his deathbed. And a drowning man does grasp at any straw. And right now they're giving the last kick. But we have a pastor on board. And I know he has held many funerals. And we are already wearing black in honor of their political death. And it will be dust to dust, ashes to ashes. And we will bury them politically. And bring an end to the kind of corruption and nepotism and cronyism and clientelism and tribalism that has ruled Tobago politics for the last 21 years. We have to bring that to an end. We have to change that tonight. And that's why I beg you so fervently tonight. I'm sweating more than I sweat when I'm preaching in church. Because I have to put all my energy in begging you to do the right thing. Because sometimes as human beings, the good we just want to do something that's keep we back from doing it. We like the Apostle Paul, we just struggle sometimes. Struggle to do the good we're supposed to do. And this thorn in my flesh, we can't get it out, man. We have to find a way to get it out. To save our own souls, we have to find a way. You have this one opportunity. And I don't know what 4 years under PNM again will look like. In fact, given the track record for 21 years, I can see doom and gloom. But I could tell you for sure what 4 years under PDP will look like. I could tell you that prosperity will come to your door. I can tell you that you will start to grow again. I will tell you the private sector will start to boom again. I will tell you that you will get competitive jobs that will earn you big money again. I will tell you that the tourism will start to flow right again. And we will go back to the days when we're getting 80,000 plus in tourists. I will tell you that we can fix this place. So let me fix it now. Let me fix it. I'm not calling for you to let PDP alone fix it. I'm calling for let we fix it. All of we fix it. We the people fix it. We the collective have to fix it. We have to fix it. And we have to fix it to even save those confused Tobagonians in red. Because I'm convinced they are confused. I am convinced they are. And 1 week of PDP's governance, and they will see the light. Mark my words. They will see the light and start wondering, why was I here in the first place? And I assure you that when PDP win, we won't even have PNM on the landscape in Tobago again. Tobago should have only Tobago-centric parties, full stop. And I said without apologies, we don't want no Trinidad party here in Tobago. And the people so tricky and smart, they will come and try to brand everybody as being connected to somebody in Trinidad. When their own party house is down in Trinidad, when their instructions come from out of Diego Martin and Port of Spain, when the instructions coming from a cabinet down there, but everybody else they're trying to label, when they are the culprits of selling out Tobago to the Trinidadian friends and family. Check it out. Who does get the biggest deals to? It will be you and me. We paying over $20 million a year for Milshove in a boat arrangement. Is not a Tobago family getting that? Is the Rahal family that is known for financing the PNM that getting that? They give their own, that sort of sweet bread deal. Is their own they give that to? Largest landholder on the island. And you go in them stupid deal to give your financial partners in Trinidad money while Tobagonians are left without. And when we talk about putting more in your bank account, they could walk up and say, you don't have money for that. You don't have money for that, but money for them to give their friends and family deals. And I'm saying to Tobagonians, you have to vote for Tobago to win in this election. You have to vote for yourself in this election. Get conscious, Tobago. Lift up your head, Tobago. Start thinking about Tobago. Have some pride in yourself, Tobago, man. Walk like the Tobago. I know. The Tobagonians, I know, are people with pride. We had pride. We had pride. Don't let nobody steal that from you. Don't let nobody take that away from you and replace your pride with just bad mind. Remove that and have some pride in your Tobagonianness again. And let's stand up for a Tobago that deserves your immediate attention and intervention. And once we do that, Tobago, we will get to a place where Tobago becomes the greatest little island on the planet. We don't need outsiders to do it for us. In fact, outsiders cannot do it for us. We have to do it for ourselves. If we can look up the Caribbean to Cayman Islands and Bermuda and St. Kitts Nevis and these territories that ain't get no oil and no gas, yet the GDP, the amount of money they make, they earn per person is way more than Trinidad and Tobago with all the oil and gas we have. Clearly something not right. Clearly something wrong here. Clearly our priorities are mixed up. Do the research. Look around the Caribbean. Look at people progressing. Don't just watch me and Motley and say, oh gosh, she just thought nice. Oh gosh, she's like the Prime Minister of the Caribbean. Do something about it. Stop sitting down and taking cuss after cuss every Saturday on a press conference and do something about it. Do something about it. You have to do something about it. Your failure to act will result in Tobago's demise. But if you act, if you only get up and act, you will see how powerful you are. Your greatest fear is not that you are inadequate. Is that because you are more powerful beyond measure. More powerful than you can think. So get up. Let me fix this. And let me make Tobago the greatest little island on the planet. Thank you, Tobago. Love you all and good evening.
Let's give it up once again for our Chief Secretary candidate, Farley Augustine. Thank you, Tobago. Thank you, Spartans, for staying with us tonight in our second part of the real life, with the real viewers, with the real issues, with the real bread and butter issues. We take a break tomorrow night in our PDP on the Road series, and we resume on Saturday night, where the spotlight is on Bon Accord, Crown Point. We thank you for joining us this evening. Get home safely. Thank you again. Take care.
Representing for the Progressive Democratic Patriots. We voting for Farley Augustine. Yo, Tobago, PDP, the big green party, they care about people and coming to save we the big finger and vote for Farley. 6th of December, just vote PDP. Vote Farley, PDP, where you vote? Farley, Tobago, where you vote? Farley, PDP, where you vote? Farley, vote PDP, daddy. PDP, what ain't go again? Vote. Representing for the Progressive Democratic Patriots. We voting for Farley Augustine. Yo, Tobago, PDP, the big green party, they care about people and coming to save we the big finger and vote for Farley. 6th of December, just
all the candidates who are here just come for a brief second to the front.
PDP, where you vote?
All the candidates come to the front for a brief.
Where you vote? Farley, PDP, where you vote? Farley, vote.